All right, I turn the bottom side top-wise, and yes.
Are you, Garrison?
It's Harrison.
Harrison, yeah, sorry, it's right on the thing. I have you down as Harrison. It was my mistake there.
It's fine.
Are you prepared to receive what is due?
Yes. I am a penitent of the Leviathan. I wish to experience that. Ow! What was that?
I kicked you in the shin.
I know you kicked me in the shin. Why did you kick me in the shin?
Did it hurt?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Ow!
What were you hoping to get out of this experience?
I don't know. I thought you guys would like do stuff that's like so painful that it would stop being pain and become like a transcendent existential thing, and I'd be so altered by it that like I'd become one of you and I'd get like a cool costume with some leather pants.
The thing with the chains and the hooks. You were expecting to get the thing with the chains and the hooks.
Yeah, I guess I was expecting the thing with the chains and the hooks.
Do you know how much setup and takedown is involved with the hooks thing? It's not like we're piercing ears at a mall kiosk. I have like 12 more puzzle boxes to answer after lunch, which I'm already late for.
Ow!
We're handling more clients than we used to, and we're focusing on efficiency right now so we don't get behind, and we found that this just works. We can't give everyone the hooks or the crazy nerve-pulling machine. It's a photo op thing mostly. You know, like when you see a commercial for Disneyland and you see Mickey Mouse is on the ride with a bunch of kids, you know you're not going to be on the ride with Mickey Mouse when you get there. You're not going to be one of the kids who's on with Mickey Mouse. You're just going to get kicked in the shins forever.
Ow!
Okay, look, I know this is a big deal for you. You want to transcend. So here's what we can do. In a few hours, there'll be a bruise on your shin. I'll have Butterball here kick the bruise. It'll hurt really bad, and you can transcend off of that all you want.
Ow! Okay. I never thought I would say this, but I think hell kinda sucks.
I have one sight to show you.
Ow!
Hello and welcome to the Free Bin, the Toledo Public Library's podcast. It is the middle of the summer and we are back to talk about something that Harrison came up with. But I'm Cindy.
And I'm Harrison.
There we go. Sometimes I forget to introduce myself.
I knew you were getting there.
I know. It just takes me a bit. Anyway, so we are back with our activities for this summer. It's the middle of summer reading program, which if you are familiar with libraries, it goes on all over the nation. And it's cool to see what other things are happening in other places. But we're here to tell you about what's happening here. So it's a big weekend in Toledo. Breaking news.
Sorry, I was a little late.
I forgot. So it's the Toledo Summerfest is going on right now this weekend, but we also have some stuff coming up next week that the momentum will carry us into. So next Thursday at 10:30 a.m., July 16th, the Oregon Coast Aquarium is coming. This year's program is going to be about the Amazon rainforest. Nice. So if you haven't had a chance to go out to the aquarium in Newport, be sure and come to the library because they're going to bring some stuff and it'll be kind of cool. It'll be like touchy-feely and stuff, I think.
Yeah, I have not made it out to the Amazon exhibit.
I haven't either.
It's really, really cool.
I do hear that. It's got snakes and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know what's coming to us, but it's going to be cool because they always deliver. The Oregon Coast Aquarium always delivers.
Yes.
And then, of course, we always have our little group of Storytime folks that come on Wednesday mornings at 10:30. And I know that we have a special one coming up on the 22nd. It's going to be a firefighter's coming to read. Firefighter Amanda is going to come read some books in anticipation of our program the next day. And this is important. We are having a fire department field trip. So that means the library is not where you're going to meet. You're going to meet up at the Toledo Fire Department, which is on Burgess Road, and you're going to get to touch a truck, and you're going to get to tour the firehouse, and you're going to get to meet some firefighters up there, and it's going to be really fun. So we'll have lots of information over the next couple of weeks, so you'll remember to go up there instead of coming to the library on Thursday, July 23rd at 10:30, meeting at the fire department in Toledo, not the library.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then a day or two after that is our second meeting of the Story Trackers. And if you haven't been, you should go. It's a little quirky. It's a lot of fun. And you can earn badges. We don't need no stinking badges. But we do.
But we do want them.
We want our badges. We don't need them, but we want them. And I'm trying to think of one I could win. I've been reading a lot of books. I'm almost up to my 100th book since September.
Wow.
So I think I'm going to make it because I have about 6 in my to-be-read my to-be-read pile.
Cool.
And I'm just taking 2 more home today. And that's the problem of being a librarian, is that you get to check out all the books you want.
Yeah, I started reading a book. I'm enjoying it, but then I got sidetracked because I decided to start another book, which I didn't really get into, and it pulled me out of it. And now I've got a third book on my desk because it was recommended to me. So I've not been checking off books on my list. I've been watching movies, though.
Yeah. Have you seen the new Enola Holmes?
No, I've not.
Enola Holmes series is on Netflix, and if you haven't seen it, it's really fun. And this third one is pretty fun too, but they're based on a series of books. That's why I think they're cool. But anyway, I watched that the other night. That was the last one I watched. I started watching The Sheep Detectives.
Yeah?
I couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it?
No.
Oh.
I was like, wait. I don't want to spoil anything, but it moved really slow for me. And maybe it was just the mood I was in, because everybody I've heard really kind of likes it, but I just struggled with that.
It's not a real propulsive movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I was looking for like something more.
Yeah. With Talking Sheep, it could go zany, and they didn't, but they didn't really go zany.
No.
They kept it at like a charming.
Yeah.
They kept it at Studio Ghibli kind of level of, what's the one, like My Neighbor Totoro of, it's a little grimmer than that because it's a murder mystery, but that just kind of, let's have this be warm and fuzzy and just kind of keep it at this level.
Well, I won't write it off. I won't not watch it, but it was really a struggle. And I think part of it's because I'm when I watch TV, I'm watching like murder mysteries because I'm working my way through Midsummer Murders again. And unfortunately, they're getting more and more gruesome and weird as we go along, which I think they did on purpose. It's like, let's make this as weird as we can. So there's lots of death and destruction in those. So maybe I was expecting something a little more murdery and mayhemy. And I got The Sheep Detectives.
I was expecting a little more Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, yeah. And it didn't get that either.
It didn't get that. Yeah, it didn't have the zany.
I do like Wallace and Gromit,
I didn't miss the zany. Babe.
Oh, I thought Babe, but it's a slow mover too.
Yeah. That's what I was, the closest I could come was thinking of My Neighbor Totoro, but not that. Babe level.
Okay.
Yeah, Babe level action.
All right. Well,
I watched Lee Cronin's The Mummy last night.
Oh, okay. Wow.
You ever wonder what would happen if you decided to make a mummy movie with no mummies in it?
Then you'd get that one? Fun.
There is not a mummy.
It's like somebody challenged him, right?
I think what happened is he directed the Evil Dead reboot. And then he got taken off the next movie.
Oh.
And so I think he decided, I'm going to make an Evil Dead wacky, gross possession movie, demonic possession movie. And I'm just going to call it The Mummy. And I'm going to put some
Well, there you
a
go.
little bit of set dressing around it, but there is not, it doesn't spoil anything for me to say.
Not one mummy. Huh?
Yeah, you would have gotten this from the trailer. There is not a mummy in there.
Huh.
There is a couple people get wrapped in stuff a couple times, but there is not a mummy in sight.
Well, good for him. You know?
Yeah, good for, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was just like a popcornier version of The Exorcist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. I guess if you can get somebody to back your movie, you can make whatever you want.
Yep, that you can.
Yes. Okay. What'd you bring us today for our beverage?
I brought a strawberry melon brisk iced tea.
Oh.
Comes in a big bottle. It's
Yeah?
a cloudy pink. It's a hazy kind of pink.
Yeah. It's got, oh, that's a bird.
Is that a bird? That is a bird. It's
I thought it was a
bird.
roller coaster. It's a bird with a cell phone, but it looked like a kind of a weird, interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why they picked that. So let's put a bird with a cell phone attached to his head.
I have a lot of questions. Let's see. Okay.
It does not look like iced tea, and I'm not a huge fan of iced tea, but
Yeah, this.
but I think you put enough sugar and flavor in it, and I'll drink it.
Yeah, this does not look like iced tea at all.
Smells melony.
Mm-hmm.
Apologies to anybody named Melanie. I meant like melons, not melons.
Melanie, yes.
My friend Melanie in Iowa. I'm sorry if you're listening, which you're not.
All right. The artist on that was Corey Adams. I don't know who Corey Adams is.
Well, he's modern.
Okay.
He's got, is that a tiger with like a hat on or a mask?
It's a feelet of some kind. Yeah. It's wearing a hat with sunglasses.
Oh, it kind of looks like the Dread Pirate Roberts hat, you know, the little
yeah.
thing with the eye holes.
It does.
I
There's a
know people,
walrus
you're listening to this going, what the heck are they talking about?
Describing an iced tea bottle.
Yeah, okay. Well, it smells.
Buckle up, folks.
Smells pretty good.
It does.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's really not.
It's very kind of refreshing. With ice, it would be really good.
It would.
It's almost kiwi strawberry, but I like the melon taste to it.
Yeah, the strawberry. I'm used to tasting strawberry with banana.
Oh, yeah.
And so somehow the strawberry is invoking banana to me, but I know that's just an association my brain is making. I like it. I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. I do. It's you got a lot, I'm sure it's sugary, but I don't taste the tea at all.
I do not know.
And so that's what I don't like about iced tea is the tea. It makes sense.
49 grams of sugar in the whole bottle, which, I mean,
well,
for the size of the bottle, I've seen more sugar.
That's true. That's true. It is a big one, but it tastes pretty good. All right, Harrison.
Right.
Harrison brought us something to talk about, and this is the first time. I mean, we talked about it, but I still don't really understand it. So he's going to go over it, and I'm gonna nod and smile.
Respond, ask questions.
Gonna have
there
to.
are a lot of questions that I may not have answers to here.
Okay,
We're gonna go on a journey. We're gonna start with a famous work of horror and an adaptation of that ends up in a place that you might not expect. Thank you. That was our mummy voice. I forgot to do that for the mummy.
okay.
Yes. So we start with author Clive Barker. Also a film director. He's directed several films. We're going to be talking about his first film. And he's done everything from, some really dark, goopy horror that that we're going to be talking about some today. But he's also done young adult fantasy, the Aberrat series. He's kind of done everything. He's most known though for what we're going to be talking about today,
right?
Or at least where we're going to start today,
right?
But we're going to go before that to the 1970s, when a young Clive Barker worked as a hustler in leather clubs, and Got to start somewhere.
Everybody has passed.
So I'm going to quote him from a 2017 interview with Phil Hode of The Guardian. Quote, "I worked as a hustler in the 1970s because I had no money. I met a lot of people you'll know and some you won't. Publishers, captains of industry. The way they acted, and the way I did, to be honest, was a source of inspiration later. Sex is a great leveler. It made me want to tell a story about good and evil in which sexuality was the connective tissue."
Okay.
So that idea led him in 1986 to publish a novella called The Hellbound Heart. It appeared in volume 3 of the anthology series Night Visions. And this volume was edited by a 38-year-old George R.R. Martin, who himself was 5 years away from getting the idea for his 4th novel, A Game of Thrones.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow, connections.
So if you haven't read it, The Hellbound Heart is about a love rectangle. Maybe a love rhombus, because it's
okay.
uneven, right?
Hellbound Heart.
Yeah, we have it here. We should have it here.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil the story too much. If you haven't read it, but it deals with things like the price of hedonism, lust versus love, and a protagonist trying to navigate the moral indifference of those around her, both supernatural and mundane.
Okay. So it's fantasy.
It's fantasy. It's a dark fantasy horror kind of, it's a Faustian kind of story.
Okay.
But it has more relevant characters than just the person who's made the bargain, right?
Right.
At least intentionally so.
Okay.
So it's known for these characters, the Cenobites. And I'll describe them in the words of the most famous Cenobite, Pinhead, whose image you will know if you've spent any time in a Spencer's gift store in the early 1990s. The Cenobites are, quote, demons to some, angels to others. Mm-hmm. They are supernatural beings who are kind of like sadomasochism elementals, and they serve as the Faustian devils in this story.
Okay.
They're summoned by solving a puzzle box called the Le Marchand configuration, or the Lament configuration in the films. And once you solve the box, you've invited them in and you're going with them. Is the thing. So their whole deal is they want to feel everything, and they want to make others feel everything, and they don't really distinguish between things that feel good and things that feel bad.
Oh.
So if you solve the puzzle box, you're going with the Cenobites forever, and there's no getting out of it. They're not exactly the villains of this story, but they're a problem to be reckoned with. Right? They're an important force in the story.
Right.
And a scary one.
Right.
So in 1987, The Hellbound Heart was adapted to the film Hellraiser, and this was Clive Barker's directorial debut.
Right.
And it was also...
Did he write the script?
Yes.
He did.
This was so it this
he
is
made the adaptation.
Right. Okay. Because he had stories adapted into movies he was not happy with before. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of lower budget, but he had that creative control.
Right. Okay.
And Doug Bradley, the actor who plays Pinhead in the first, I think, three Hellraiser films, is Clive Barker's close friend since childhood. Okay. I think they're best friends to this day.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is Pinhead the protagonist?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's
is he the villain?
He's not exactly the villain.
Okay.
Either of the first film.
See, right? I have not seen these films, and the chances of me seeing them are slim to none.
I'll put it this way. I think just talking about the first film, because it gets all over the place. There are comics, there are movies that twist these things all around. Pinhead, the Cenobites in general, they're a consequence.
Okay.
You can think of them that way. Right. They're not so much the villain of the story.
And Pinhead is one of those.
He's one of those.
Okay, that makes more sense now.
He's in the movie, he's kind of the leader of them.
Okay, got it.
And so he has the best lines.
Oh, okay.
So
that's how it works.
Yeah, so Hellraiser was an adaptation with some changes to the story, but the core of it is the same. I mean, it's the same. It's written, directed by the same person. So they're versions of these same themes, right? And so it was a huge hit. It's still like Pinhead is a legendary, iconic movie monster now. It really cemented Clive Barker's name in popular culture. Doug Bradley may not be a household name, but with the makeup, he's a household face, right? Kind of like Robert Englund.
Yeah, right. Freddy Krueger.
Like you don't
put enough makeup on the guy.
Yeah, if you see him in something and you go and you smile and you go, oh, it's him.
Right.
But he's most famous for having a bunch of makeup on his face. So in 1989, a couple years later, a guy by the name of Dan Lawton founded a company called Color Dreams. This was a software company, a video game company that, operated on a small budget and did some things that were little unusual to circumvent copy
illegal?
Protections. Well,
unethical.
So circumventing copy protection
gotcha.
is they found ways around Nintendo's console copy protection because Nintendo has always been very, very tight about what they allow to be published on their hardware.
Right.
There was a verification step when you plug a Nintendo cartridge in. Dan Lawton and Color Dreams developed a way around this that involved having a pass-through. I don't know exactly the timeline on this. I need to get back into it. But where you would plug a Nintendo cartridge into the top of one of their cartridges.
Oh.
And it would just bypass their game for the verification step. So it would basically steal the verification check off of an actual a Nintendo approved game and then run their game after that.
Oh,
so
that's clever.
It's clever. It's very clever. But Dan Lawton was a big fan of Hellraiser. And he decided he wanted to make a video game adaptation of it.
Okay.
So Lawton got the rights to Hellraiser, and for $50,000 is the figure that I read. He also got a license to use id Software's Wolfenstein 3D engine. If you've ever played Wolfenstein 3D.
No. And so explain that. So what is the engine? Is it how the game runs?
Yeah. So the engine is like the software within which the game is built.
Oh, okay.
So if you know software, which I largely don't, you can tell kind of what engine a game is running on by the quirks of the engine. So he worked on this for a while. But if you know the early 90s and you know first-person shooter games, of course, Wolfenstein 3D, it was groundbreaking as a first-person shooter. It's a Nazi shooting game, which that's always popular. So if you know anything, though, about the early 90s and first-person shooter games, and maybe more specifically first-person shooter games about like creatures from hell, something happened in 1993 that made Color Dreams think maybe we don't really have a great place in the market for this.
Okay.
And that thing was Doom.
Oh,
which we have played on the podcast.
My favorite game to play.
Cindy's pretty good at it.
I don't die every time. That is how I measure how good I am at a game. I lived. Yay!
She did great. So obviously, nobody was going to compete with Doom. id Software themselves, who they'd licensed the previous engine from. Doom was a new thing. It wasn't running on the same engine. It was new. And way different, way
new
nicer.
And sparkly.
Yes.
And everybody liked it better.
So Color Dreams changed course. They let the Hellraiser license expire, but they still had their $50,000 Wolfenstein 3D engine license, so they could still make a game. And fearing that Nintendo would catch on to some of their copyright circumventions, they moved this game into a subsidiary that they spun off in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided they were going to do their own game. They were going to adapt a different story, and they were going to put it in a type of store that they figured Nintendo probably was not monitoring, and that also didn't have a lot of competition within this type of establishment for video games in general at the time.
Okay.
So, big reveal. The subsidiary that they released this game under was Wisdom Tree, which handled Christian video games largely targeted to children and family audiences.
Right.
The game that started as the Hellraiser adaptation is Super 3D Noah's Ark, which has the distinction of being the only unlicensed game ever released in North America for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, because we were in the 16-bit era at that time. They're the only ones who did it. So in this game, it plays very similarly to Wolfenstein 3D, but there are no Nazis.
It's not a shooter, right? You're not shooting animals, are you?
It is a shooter.
It is a shooter game?
But here's the premise.
Oh, okay.
The player is Noah on the Ark,
right,
feeding angry animals to get them to fall asleep. You launch food at them.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yes.
That would have decimated the animal population on the Ark and caused problems later.
Yes.
If you know the story of Noah's Ark.
Mm-hmm. The animals are basically reskins of Wolfenstein 3D's enemies. The behavior is largely the same. But the premise is you're feeding them to calm them down. And
I'm just picturing Nazi giraffes.
Yeah. Guten Tag. Yeah. They changed the sounds too, don't worry.
Oh, good. These little elephants. Oh.
Yeah, they changed it. It doesn't end with Mecha Hitler. That would really generate some concern from the parents who thought it's where does Mecha Hitler fit in?
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
But the first-person shooter gameplay is punctuated by Bible quiz questions.
Oh,
so it
okay.
has
See, educational component.
An educational liturgical element as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, fascinating thing. Obviously, niche market, very different.
Well, and this was in the 90s, right?
This was in the 90s.
And that was just really the beginning of that big Christian publishing companies, and that kind of broke off from the mainstream publishers. And music was getting bigger and bigger, and there were, video games. So you got to corner that market.
This came out in 94 was when they got Super 3D Noah's Ark out there.
Yeah.
And I did read, this is from the TV Tropes page on it. I had trouble tracking down the exact citation for this, but I did read that the development team were not themselves practicing religious, and they did consult with other people though to get the Bible stuff
Get it right.
correct.
Oh,
yeah,
that's good.
So they put forth that effort.
Yeah, because that would be interesting too.
So that's the story of how we got from there to there. But I do think it's interesting where we've ended up with all this. And I can pause before I try to put a bow on this, because I do think it's interesting what this all means. And any questions so far?
Well, I think it's interesting. I think, first of all, the guy who circumvented all those things, he's a pretty smart guy, a little unethical. But, because we believe in copyrights and that people have a right to their work, and that Nintendo, while they are pretty picky, they have a right to guard their stuff.
And they'll crush your bones.
And they will.
They will just...
Don't mess with Nintendo or Disney. So I think that he found a way to do things. And it sounds like the 70s, 80s, and 90s in video game development and that kind of thing were very... Wild, Wild West.
Yeah.
You kind of get in there and start doing your thing and hope nobody catches you.
Oh, in all kinds of ways.
Right.
Like,
right.
I find it very fascinating reading about like early 80s video game companies where it's like it's all run by like white guys in their early 20s and the early 80s with a lot of money that's rolling in sometimes.
Living in a dark room drinking Fanta.
Oh, boy. Yeah. You read these stories of like guys like Python Angelo, who was a legend in the pinball and video game art world. And you're like, this man was an HR disaster.
Right.
With a shirt on.
Right.
But it was a whole time and a place.
It was. And I think it's interesting how you start with a known guy who did things right, Clive Barker. He had his books and he had his stuff and all the Hellraiser. And then, you get this little shifty guy in there. And then he ends up in this religious context where he has no idea what he's talking, really, if he had to consult with people about the Bible stuff, he's not like a religious guy.
Right.
But he's just trying to market his game, make some money. But it is interesting that it came from Hellraiser and ended up in Noah's Ark.
And I want to expound on that a little bit in terms of providing an epilogue for our major players here.
Okay.
So Wisdom Tree, when I looked them up, it looks like their current owner is Brenda Huff. I believe she was a former employee. And the company's main activity these days is licensing its old games. Its most recent game that it developed internally was one called Hellbound way back in 2003. I couldn't find much info on that.
Heard of it.
There was one a few years after that they didn't develop, but they published, called Jesus in Space. And I don't know anything much about the developer for that, but that was one they served as publisher for.
Okay.
But you can find like re-releases of these.
Yeah.
Because that's the fascinating thing. Like, say what you will about, the motivations and the reasons for Color Dreams to spin off Wisdom Tree, which it's its own thing now. It's no longer a subsidiary.
Right.
But a lot of people grew up with these games. Sometimes these were the only games that they had in their house. So there's a lot of nostalgia. There is fondness for these. And so even if they were created just to like, let's get our money's worth out of the license we paid for, let's get a hold of this audience.
Right.
It did end up as something meaningful to a lot of people, even if people look back and think, well, it wasn't gameplay wise a great game. Although I will say, I feel like it's a lot harder than Wolfenstein 3D. It's pretty intense. Those goats are mean. Right outside the first room, goats come after you. And even on like normal difficulty, I struggled.
Yeah.
I have not.
Feed those goats.
I did not get to the angry camel at the end of level 1 on normal. They're tougher than those Wolfenstein Nazi guards. They're hungry. Those goats are really hungry.
Well, the animal kingdom.
Color Dreams became Stardot Technologies, a security camera company.
Oh, okay.
They split ways with Wisdom Tree, and I wasn't sure because their copyright date on their website hasn't been updated in a while, but I called them this morning, and their 888 number picks up and gives you a directory with Dan Lawton in it.
Oh.
So I believe they're still operating. They're a security tech firm.
Okay. Well,
and
he kind of morphed along, didn't he?
He did. And he knows hardware. We know that.
Yeah.
And Clive Barker has slowed down on his creative output and stepped away from public life some in recent years due to some major health issues. He had septic shock a few years ago that almost took his life. But he is still writing. He's still working. He's still got irons in the fire and projects going, although he's not as publicly visible these days.
Yeah, I was looking at the last book he published was in 2021, it looks like.
Yeah.
Nope. He's got one coming out.
Oh.
No, he's got a collection. He's in a collection in 2025. But yeah, it looks like the last one he published was a book called Night Lives and Frankenstein in Love. These are play scripts, so they're a little different than a book's. But he is still functioning. That's 5 years ago. And I don't know, when was he born? How old is the guy?
He was born in
1952.
52, yeah.
He's
He's 73.
70, yeah.
So here's where I'm going to say something that may be controversial.
Oh, no.
I would argue that Super Noah's Ark 3D is a better Hellraiser game than any actual Hellraiser game Color Dreams could have produced, although I absolutely don't think that's intentional on their part.
Mm-hmm.
Picture a first-person shooter based on how I described Hellraiser, Hellbound Heart, where you're just blasting away at Cenobites, these immortal cosmic entities, right? That would be totally disconnected from the themes of the source material. The story is about existential questions and personal situations that you can't shoot your way out of.
Right.
The Cenobites are this presence that, like the devil in the Faust story.
Right.
If Faust was just like shooting, if he just shot the devil and shot his way out, or, there would be no...
Right.
That's not how that works, right? Either in a narrative sense or in a meaning sense. So that would have been a pretty bad game, I think, and a bad adaptation. I don't think you could adapt Hellraiser at that time with that technology as a first-person shooter. It would be a story game, right?
Right.
But Noah on the Ark facing a grand cosmic disruption of his life while steadfastly looking after a bunch of dangerous animals that lack the capacity to care back. That's about as close to an overtly Christian and child appropriate exploration of Hellraiser's moral themes as you're going to get. About standing in the face of not necessarily evil, but moral indifference in all directions.
Okay.
I'm still going to feed these goats. I'm not going to cross this line. It's a different kind of situation than Kirsty, the main character of Hellbound Heart, finds herself in, I'll say. But if you were going to feel around in those themes, I think Super Noah's Ark 3D is more true to the spirit of the Hellraiser story than a first-person shooter would be.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I understand. I just, to me, video games, that's not something I play a lot of. And I don't think in existential ways about them. You go in, you shoot something, or you jump over barrels with Donkey Kong, or you drive on a track. I don't think about the things that, those meanings. Now, I know that in those story games, in the narrative games that some of my kids play, that there is more of that. Yeah,
there's action games and there's...
And
just like movies. There's action movies and there's dramas.
Right. And so I would be interested to hear if other people who are gamers think that way. If they, what they think about the moral questions or the narrative that they're watching, or are they just mindlessly playing the game, following the game rules?
There are a lot of games that grapple with heavy issues and deal with them and introduce their mechanics in interesting ways that make those meanings felt.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I feel like it is. You can just do a whole dump of dialogue. Right. And honestly, I feel like Hellraiser lends itself to dialogue dump more so than gamey mechanics.
Right.
Because there's not a lot of, I'm trying to think. I know there have been Hellraiser adaptations in games before, but in terms of telling the story, it's a lot of talking.
Right.
And then interspersed with getting like dragged through a portal by hooks, right? It's like there's not a lot of like press X, press X to beg Pinhead to not drag you to hell. Like there's not a lot of stuff there.
Yeah. I guess, when you think of it in terms of at least when I do in a big picture way. So when I read a book or watch a movie, there I can see the themes and I can understand what they're trying to say. But I, like I said, I've never thought of that in a game kind of way when I'm watching or playing a game. And that's interesting to me because both authors and movie makers and game makers are creative people who are trying to say something. And so you have games that maybe are just point and shoot. Let's just put this out quick. Let's not think about what we're doing. And then you have games that are thoughtful, that are like, let's put our character in a position where they're going to have to make a choice, or they're going to have to choose to, do they do this or do they do that? And how does that create their character? So it's an interesting thing because they all intertwine in so many different ways, books, movies, game, all of those kinds of things. It's just a very interesting thing to think about.
Art can take us to a lot of places.
Right.
And even, as an example from this, even a game that was created primarily for, economic, let's make a buck here, that was made to have the appearance, at least, of being motivated by something other than monetary motivation. Even if that wasn't really the motivation, it still can end up having a lot of meaning and a lot of fondness because it will end up being situated in people's childhoods. And memories.
Right.
So you never know.
And things that, if you're talking about Bible trivia or like if an educational component to a game, people are going to remember that, They're going to remember because our brains remember. And so if you had to answer a question so you could get more bananas to feed the monkeys or whatever you have to do, then, that nostalgia is always things there for kids. And especially, I think, back in when video games first started to come out, just like when Dungeons and Dragons came out or Harry Potter novels came out, parents who were Christians or religious had a bit of a issue. They were like, I don't know if I want this. Is this good for my kid? Because you hear all the rumors and horror stories about things. And then to find a company that produced just those kinds of games you could trust, then some kids, like you said, that's all the games they got. Because their parents, we can have a game console in our house, but we're not going to play this or this or this. And so my kids, we did a lot of gaming in the, I would say 90s, 2000s, because my boys were born in the 90s. And I don't remember having like a overtly Christian game in our house. Because we are Christians. And so I don't remember doing that, but I do remember watching some of their games going, what are you doing? What are you shooting? Well, it's just zombies, Mom. You're shooting zombies? Not having a clue about it. And we had been very, pretty adept at keeping ahead of our kids with the books they read and making sure that, they had books that we felt were appropriate for their age and that kind of stuff. But I remember those days. But then I also let my kids play D&D. So there are a lot of people who never did that and who felt like that was uncomfortable for them. So it's just funny to me. I remember, I'm sure we did, though, have some kind of, what is the name of that game? Was it Sarge's Heroes?
That I don't know. The only other one that I know of was, I think it was called Bible Adventures. And I have seen that later. I was not raised with any of these games. I grew up on Mario and sometimes Sonic the Hedgehog if we could budget to rent a Sega Genesis, right? But later in life I came to some of these niche games and that Bible Adventures was one. It's a platformer. Right. And I know, and that's one that I had heard a lot of people who grew up in religious households have memories of playing Bible Adventures. Because that was one of the games that they had too. Yeah,
I'd have to ask my kids, honestly. I just don't. We had a lot of educational stuff because of Andrew, and he would play on the computer. I don't know that we had, I think our first, I'd have to ask the boys. I just don't know what our first console was. Atari? I know that my husband's first console was the Atari Pong game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had that one. And then he and I would go to the pizza parlor and play it on the tables. Back in the day when you could play on the table. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, the cocktail.
Yeah, where you'd sit on.
cabinets,
Yeah, that was
those
fun.
are fun.
That would be. We need one of those for the library.
Yes.
Anybody
So
got one they
I
want to
had-
donate?
So in terms of game nostalgia, I think it was prepping for this episode reminded me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever played Golly Ghost.
No.
It was a game from 1990 made by Namco. It was a shooter, light gun shooter game. But it used a Pepper's Ghost illusion and a real dollhouse with solenoid
Ooh.
furniture. So the doors would open, there was a toilet and a refrigerator that would pop open, and it would project on the glass in front. It had a weird projection system.
Yeah.
I can't even remember where things actually were situated in the cabinet, but it's not what you might think. But the ghosts would fly around, projected over the dollhouse, and then the things would move and the ghosts would fly in and out of it. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And I sent a text message to my sister asking if she remembered Golly Ghost. And then I had this feeling, I've probably told my sister about this before. I've probably asked her. And because you can search your text message history, I found that I did, in fact, send her a nearly identical text message asking her if she remembered Golly Ghost.
Oh, funny.
About 6 years ago, also early July. For some reason.
There's some nostalgia there.
And my memory is just not holding on to it. So I told her she needs to prepare her brain to have get memory loss at least as quickly as I do, so that as I ask her if she remembers Golly Ghost with an increasing frequency as we age, she can forget that I asked.
Right.
So that by the time we're in our 90s and I'm calling her every day, like, you ever play Golly Ghost? You remember it?
Do you remember that?
That it'll be new every time.
Right. Yep. Well, it's an interesting thing, and we have waxed poetic about it. So
I think we've maybe gotten to the bottom of this well.
Yes, I think so. But comments are always welcome. That's one thing we don't actually ask people for. But you can email us at the library, or you can post on our Facebook post, or just say, I remember Golly Ghost.
Yeah.
I remember whatever, Warhammer or whatever. No, Warhammer's not what we were talking about.
And I'll be like, what's Golly Ghost?
Yeah. And Harrison would be like, what?
Uh-oh.
And if you remember Noah's Ark, the Noah Ark 3D experience or Bible Adventures, we'd love to hear about that too.
Yeah.
And, if you have a game you want us to wax poetic about, we can do that. We might even have you on to wax poetic about it. So anyway, don't forget all the upcoming events. We would love to see you there. I do want to say that our summer reading program, just to end on a high note, we have 277 people signed up. We have read, the last count, 29,000 minutes.
Wow.
Which translates into 483 hours.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get to 50,000 minutes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We can do it. So turn in your stuff. Get your raffle tickets in. It's going to be a competition for those raffle prizes because we have so many people turning in minutes. But hopefully you can win something. And you certainly, if you haven't turned in to get your T-shirt, your bag, your treasure chest, your book, and your raffle ticket for the first time, come in and do that. We're running down. We got about a month left.
Yes.
And we'd love to see you in here. So
come on in.
Have a great day.
Talk to you next time. Bye. The Free Bin is a production of the Toledo Public Library, which is part of the Lincoln County Library District in beautiful Lincoln County, Oregon. Writing by Harrison Baker and Cindy Bilek. Original music and editing by Harrison Baker. The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect those of any organization they represent. Good night.